So, a different kind of video this time. Farmer Dad wanted me to do videos on, like, tutorials on maps, map making in general. There's plenty of blank maps out there that you can download and go from there, but sometimes they don't work correctly. They haven't been done and ported out correctly. So there are a lot that do actually work fine straight off the bat, but the first thing that I think before getting into map making that you should understand is how to make your own blank map, and that's what you're going to learn here today. And there's only 2 programs you'll need. Well, actually only 1 program you'll need. You'll definitely need the Giants editor for Farm Sim 17 or whichever Farm Sim you're playing, and go with the latest. You can get that from the Giants main site, which I will put a link in the description for. So I've made as in the previous tutorial, I've made a folder on the desktop, and then I've named the other one maps within as a subfolder. This is where I'll export the stuff into this folder, and it will create the parts in here. Before we can do that though, we need the parts that will make this function in game as a map. So we need to go into SDK, and then we need to go into the maps folder, and it's up to you because there's two types of maps that you can export from. You've got the map 01 and the map 02, and what that will do is this is set up to use these scripts or these XMLs, and the map 01 is set up to use obviously the map 01 XMLs. So it's entirely up to you which one you want to go with. As for this, map 01 is Goldcrest, map 02 is Sovnuska. And what I will do is I will go from from Goldcrest. Normally I'd go from Sovnuska, but in this case no. So I'll copy the first bunch of files, which will go directly here, and then within the maps folder, as you can see, hence the reason the name of the folder maps, you just select all of this, copy it and paste it into here, and that's the first part done. The next part, we don't need this open, it's only if you want to. This is a program that you might want. It's if you add multi-terrain angles and things, you'd want this program. I would still suggest getting it just in case, but we'll go into data maps, and then open map 01 with the i3D, the latest version 710. Now everything here we're going to export. We don't have to, we could just go and export the terrain, and that's theoretically all that we would need. In fact, that's probably what we will do. We'll probably just export all of this stuff and we'll forget about the rest, because we don't need the buildings, we don't want the buildings. So we'll just go export files, and then desktop, blank maps. And before we do it, we'll name this one map 01 .xml, map 01 .i3d rather, and save it. And we want it to create the parent directory structure, so we'll hit yes on that, and that's it, done. So we can close this down, we don't need to save that. And now everything that we need to open this up as a blank map is right here. All that will be there is the terrain will be as it was. So we can open this up, and it shouldn't have any errors or anything. And there's the terrain, all from Goldcrest. And now, to make this a completely blank area, we can first off select the terrain foliage, scroll down to foliage layer, select the terrain detail, and we want to delete all of the field items. So I've set my brush already up to be quite big, 400, yeah. So I just drag and right click and just drag, clearing all of the terrain, all the field allocations. And this is literally the easiest way to go with a blank map. And then you can go other ways. There is more advanced ways of doing it. We'll just select any fruit type, get rid of the fruit on the map: grass, wheat, barley, whatever. And the reason we're starting with the new map is because it has seasons built into it. It has sugarcane built into it. You know, it has everything that has been added by the new Platinum DLC. So it would be easier to go with this kind of method. I mean, by all means, you could go along the lines of downloading one of the maps that is already blank and just porting the textures over, so it automatically has it flat and no foliage or anything on the map. But it doesn't take long to do all of this. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select this one, the terrain sculpt mode, and we're going to set this to replace, and we'll just select somewhere that we want to copy the terrain height from by control right click, and now we just right click and hold it and just drag, and we're just flattening all the terrain to the height that we'd pre-selected. Nothing hard about it, a very simple, quick process. Next, we don't want all of these textures, so we will we'll select this one, the terrain detail texture. We may as well send this back to subtract, although we won't be using that. And now it's up to you what you want the base terrain to be. I tend to go with grass, so we'll select that one. And then we'll just rewrite all of this. Now it might not show straight away because you're zoomed out, so it'll show you the original terrain detail, but don't worry, all of this is actually being replaced. And for what it's worth, as you can see, for what it's worth, it's done. So we can actually save this, and to make sure it's all correct, we could close it and then reload it. It's up to you. You could just reload the textures from the without having to close it. I tend to close the editor completely and then reload the editor, and there we go, completely blank. And we can, to make sure, we can just scour along the along here and just make sure that each one of these grids has just grass in there for 100%. But we're not going to do that because what's the point? And the next thing you'll definitely want to fix is the tip collision, something that I forgot to do when I ported my map over. And yeah, it's a very quick process. Selecting this one, not this one, sorry, terrain info layer paint. This is the cow mesh, so we don't need to worry about that. We'll go to here and select from info layer tip col, and this is where you can't alt tip, so you can't make a pile of wood chips, grass, you know, wheat, whatever. You can't tip it anywhere where there's a white area, so we're going to remove all of that, because although we're using Goldcrest's map as a base to work from, we're not actually going to be using the default road networks and buildings and everything, so we want it to be completely empty. So after we've done that, we go to scripts, FS17 map, and create ground collision map. And the reason you want to do this is if we go here, we have a tip collision layer. Now you can have this completely blank, and all it is just a black image like this as a PNG. Name this and it'll be completely blank. But unfortunately, how it's also saved within the map01 col data, which isn't here, so we'll just create it first and then it will update that, and you'll see it on the very bottom in down here. You'll see what file it's actually updating. So we'll recreate that. That'll take a little bit of time. Saving col map2 and then map01.i3d col map.grl, and there it is. So now when we can alt tip anywhere on this on the train, and it will allow us to do it. We won't have a problem. And this is literally how to make a basic map, literally that easy. Blank basic map. And the animal zones will all still be there, or should still be there, because we haven't moved them. There's the cows. Change this one to the sheep, and to the chickens. Or is that one the sheep? Chickens, and this one's the sheep. Yeah. So sheep, chickens, and then the third one is the pigs. And we will see how to recreate these soon enough. But for now, that's basically it. That's all I have to show you. It's step 1, preparing a map ready for making your own. Step 2, we will go into importing a structure and making a field, modifying terrain, and moving animal zones, and that will practically set you up to everything that you need to be able to do on a map then. So until next time, have fun, hope you enjoyed, and be sure to check everybody else out in the Monkey Show. They all do their own things, and we do things also obviously together, most notably on a Sunday and Saturday, and sometimes through during the week we'll do occasional multiplayer stuff. And so you'll want to subscribe to them, and yeah, thanks for watching. See ya. Wrong button.